I don't make speeches very often. And in fact, the last time I made a speech was in Speech Class 101, Bachelor Hall, 35 years ago. The professor at that time told me it was going to be one of the most important things I would learn. So here I am making a speech for the second time. I grew up in Michigan, but currently reside in Knoxville, Tennessee, with my husband, Drew Mann. I have 3 boys who are now young men: Taylor, who lives in North Carolina; Braden, who is in Nashville, here tonight; and Ryan, who lives in Knoxville, is here tonight. I currently own my own business, teaching swimming, coaching swimming, Swim with Kim, where I teach all ages, from the very beginner 2-year-olds to the 84-year-old man who wants to swim for exercise but can barely save himself. I coach groups of swim team kids where we work on the details of competitive swimming, and I love to see them reach their potential. The confidence it brings them is so rewarding, and I owe my current vocation to swimming for Miami. I majored in interior design and worked in design for 5 years, but was thankfully able to quit after having my second child to raise my 3 boys. After they started getting older, I looked into design work again, but my boys were now on swim team, and when people found out my background, they begged me to teach their kids. I liked the idea of working for myself, creating my own hours, and through the years, I've been able to grow my business where I could work 24/7 if I wanted to. But I want to thank my husband, Drew Mann, who has supported me and encouraged me in growing my business and teaching lessons out of our home. So a funny story about how I almost didn't end up at Miami. Dave Jennings, our head coach, who is here tonight, started recruiting me, and I went on my very first recruiting visit where I met Jen Shea Vallow, who is here tonight, and a fellow Hall of Famer. So Jen was the first Miami swimmer I met, and she walked me around campus and told me how great it was to be on the swim team, and it was super sweet and really fun. And little did I know at the time that her leadership as team captain and the encouragement she offered when I was a freshman would be a catalyst to my performance that year. Thank you, Jen. I met a couple of other swimmers, and I loved the campus, and Dave seemed like a good coach and was well liked. But I just couldn't decide if I wanted to go to swim at Miami or be a regular student at Michigan State. Dave offered me a scholarship that I was considering, until a letter arrived from Miami stating that because of my academics, I was not accepted. I called Dave. He apologized profusely, saying that this was a big mistake and my application was supposed to be submitted without all the competition of the other applicants, but just up against Miami standards, through which I would have no problem being accepted. But at the same time, my high school guidance counselors were saying that if you don't get accepted into a college, it meant you wouldn't do well there academically. So I called Dave and I told him I would not be coming to Miami. But as the deadlines grew closer, I just couldn't get excited about going to Michigan State, where it seemed like my whole high school was going. I felt the need to do something different, reinvent myself, and see how far I could go with swimming. So I called Dave back and said, "Hey, Dave, I think I do want to come to Miami, after all." He said he would love to have me, but Kim, unfortunately, I gave your scholarship money away to someone else after you told me you weren't coming. Oh, okay. So I talked to my parents and told them I'd lost the scholarship money, but they were so understanding and so supportive. They told me not to worry about it. They would pay the extra money if I really wanted to go there. And thankfully, I ended up at Miami. My dad, Ken Kinzler, is here tonight. My dad, brother, and I lost my mom 1.5 years ago to Alzheimer's. But I want to sincerely thank my parents. Being accepting of losing my scholarship money was a picture of how they supported me. They never pushed me, they never pressured me, they never had any expectations, just always encouraged. In fact, neither one of my parents learned how to swim because they grew up in a small rural town in North Dakota, which didn't have a pool or even a nearby lake. When it was hot in the summer, they just got in the Colorado water trough. My dad can save himself if he can get on his back, but my mom could definitely not save herself in the water. So they were pretty clueless about swimming. The one time my dad did help me out, though, was my very first swim meet on my summer league team when I was age 9. I swam my first 25 freestyle, but I kept running into the lane lines. So after telling me how great I did, Dad kindly walked me over to the edge of the pool and showed me there was a black line on the bottom that I could follow and not run into the lane lines. That was the one and only time my dad could coach me anything about swimming related. I want to thank our coach, Dave Jennings. Being a college women's swim coach is not easy. He was dealing with 18-year-old girls who had their first taste of freedom. Giving scholarships to girls he thought were a sure thing but quit after 2 weeks. Girls gone wild, boyfriend breakups, failing grades, everything in between. But I'm pretty sure Dave thought I was going to quit the team after how he saw I swam in practice. I'm a true sprinter. I do not have the gene it takes for endurance, and therefore our hour and a half morning practices and 2-hour evening practices just about killed me. In fact, when we all got our team's parkas and everybody else's name was embroidered on it except mine, I'm pretty sure Dave planned to recycle it. Somehow I hung in there, and Dave really went the extra mile for me. When I made the Olympic trial cutoffs unexpectedly, I did not have the USA Swimming registration needed since I only dabbled in year-round swimming. They practice way too much. So I never registered with USA Swimming, but Dave fought for me with the Olympic Committee. With many phone calls and letters, they honored my qualifying time, even though I didn't have the correct registration. The summer that I trained for Olympic trials, he took time away from his family to coach me and accompany me to the Olympic Training Center in Colorado. At the Olympic trials in the 50 freestyle, I was seated 82nd out of 84 women, since I only made the cut by 2/100ths of a second. Although I didn't make the team since they only take the top 2, I moved up to 55th in the nation. Thank you, Dave. I have so many amazing memories swimming at Miami. Miami swimming has always had a lot of traditions that were passed along through the years. I remember the whole freshman class was told to show up in a swimsuit, cap, and goggles and running shoes outside of the pool building. We were then given a scavenger hunt where we had to run all over campus in that attire, picking up various things from different places and getting a lot of strange looks from fellow students. Another tradition we had was just being loud. Our team was well supported, and our supporters were well known for being loud, cocky, arrogant. We had swagger. I think it was tolerated because of our accomplishments, but we had the most cheers out of any school, and we would chant them loud and proud throughout the entire meet. At our Mid-American Conference Championship meet, our parents would get involved in the cheering, each year coming up with another way to outdo the year before. One time, the dads all shaved their legs and painted them with letters to spell out Miami. We would yell, "Give me an M," and they would lift up their leg, their pant. The next year, they painted their chests. And the next year, they sewed letters on their boxer shorts and dropped their drawers. We had so much fun, and I'm sure the other teams hated us for it, but we won the Mid-American Conference Championships 7 years in a row before I got there, and 3 out of the 4 years I swam. I want to recognize Bonnie Causey Johnson, who is here tonight from Virginia Beach. Bonnie bounced into my room, freshman dorm room, on move-in day, and asked, "Who's the swimmer in this room?" Since then, we were inseparable. She lived a floor above me, and we walked every morning to practice in the dark at 5 a.m. together. I'm pretty sure we saw you football players coming in from your night out about that time. I've always heard of people talk about someone giving 110% to everything they do, but I've never known anyone like that until I met Bonnie. The day before our freshman classes, she said, "Hey Kim, let's go around and find all of our buildings and classrooms so we know where we're going tomorrow." Brilliant! I would have never thought of that. I'm so thankful that maybe a little bit of her 110% commitment rubbed off on me. I would not have made it through freshman year swim team if it weren't for Bonnie. She did not let me miss a morning practice. She waited for me when we were late. She was always there by my side with her positive energy. One time at an away meet, we missed our bus ride back to Miami, and I'm pretty sure it was because she was waiting for me. Even when I made the Mid-American Conference travel team and she did not, she was not mad or jealous. She said she'd just work harder next year and make the team next year, and she did. She showed up to the meet that year, not with a swimsuit to compete, but with a crew of cheerleaders, signs and posters for me to do my best. Thank you, Bonnie. My sophomore year, I met Tracy Schumann Fisher, who joined the swim team, and we became fast friends. Tracy's here tonight from Indiana. And Tracy was the queen of shenanigans. I definitely would not have had as great a time at Miami if it wasn't for Tracy's crazy ideas. One day I came back to my dorm room after a late night of studying to find a note taped to my dorm room wall, or to my door. "KK, we have to go mudding. Come get me." So there we were at midnight, sliding down muddy hills on dining room trays. We also had to move a pizza delivery guy's truck around the corner so that he would think it was stolen. Thank you, Tracy, for midnight tennis, crawling into caves, and all your other crazy, adventurous ideas. Swimming for Miami has taught me so many life lessons and helped me mold me into the person I am today. It gave me my current vocation. I learned how to overcome adversity, fear, to do more than I think I can. It actually gave me my first job in design. After I was hired, my boss told me that he chose me out of all the other applicants because me being on swim team told him I could get along with lots of different kinds of people. All through my life, I've seen God's hand gently guiding and leading me. He led me to Miami to swim for Dave, to meet the many friends who are still a part of my life. The summer after my freshman year, I dedicated my life to Jesus Christ, and I've never looked back. Through the years, he's been my source of strength in good and bad times. In my darkest time, he put people around in my life to remind me that he is still good, he's still for me, he still has a plan that is outside of what I can see, and to him I am truly grateful. Thank you all for being here tonight. I am truly humbled, thankful, and honored to be given this award. Love and honor to Miami.